What up guys, it's Momentai. In this video, I want to show y'all a little build I've been using for hunters with the new reworked solar subclasses. Just a quick note, I'm in no way an expert at crafting builds, so this may not be the most efficient or game breaking thing, but it's just what I've been having fun with lately, and sometimes that's all you need. So if you know something I don't or have any suggestions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. So pretty much the basis of this build is to spam throwing knives to create solar wells to recharge our abilities so we can keep spamming throwing knives. First, let's take a look at our subclass setup. For the super, I like to run Blade Barrage. And for abilities, the only ones that really matter to me are your class ability. So I like to run Gambler's Dodge just because you can dodge and instantly get your melee back. And Knife Trick because it's easy to hit and it's good at stacking scores on enemies. For the other two, you can run whatever jump you want, whatever grenade, it doesn't really matter. I just like running Solar just because I like the grenade, honestly. For our aspects, I like to use Knock 'em Down just so we're getting more damage out of our Blade Barrage, and also makes us go Radiant with our throwing knives. And On Your Mark, mainly for the 3 extra fragment slots. For fragments, I run Ember of Ashes for easier ignition procs, Ember of Empyrean primarily to keep classy restoration going if we decide to use that class mod, Ember of Torches, which keeps us radiant since we're constantly spamming knives, we're going to be constantly going radiant, Ember of Singeing, which is basically going to make our dodge come back a lot faster than usual, and Ember of Solace. Radiant and restoration effects apply to you have increased duration. Next is our exotic armor slot. For this, I have a few options I like to use. My favorite one of the 3 is Assassin's Cowl, which basically off of powered melee kills, we're going to be going invisible and also recovering health and shields. The reason I like this exotic because it's just giving us more survivability of our throwing knives. So since we're getting kills, we're going to be going invis and also recovering health and shields, which is pretty cool. Our second option is Ophidia Spaith, which may not be that necessary, but it makes me feel comfortable using it. It just gives us an extra knife charge, so if we miss it, we'll have another one. Or if there's a beefier enemy that takes more than 2 knife charges to kill, we'll be able to kill them and still keep and still be able to recharge another knife. And last but not least, for exotic armor pieces is Star Eater Scales. I pretty much only run this if I'm running with a fire team, because by myself I'm not really generating that many orbs of light for us to get max stats to make the most out of this super damage buff. But it's still good to use. Basically, you're just getting more super energy from your orbs, and once you have your super, if you collect like 8 orbs, you get your super has more increased damage, and also you get an overshield when you cast it. Okay, for armor mods, the only ones I'm really going to go over are the combat style mods, which are these mods right here on the slot to the far right. Mainly because those are going to be our elemental well mods, and that's mainly what we're trying to do, is make wells. And after that, I'll go over a few other mods I like to run. Okay, so this first one, Elemental Charge, it isn't too necessary. The only reason I'm running this is because I'm using a sword. I'm using a Loosened Blade, so I like to run this. But basically what this does is when we pick up an Elemental Well, we gain 2 stacks of Charge Your Light, and you'll see later how this will be useful. Our second well mod is Melee Well Maker. Now this one is important because powered melee final blows will spawn elemental wells matching our subclass energy type. So basically, if you don't know what wells do, they just give you energy for your ability with the lowest current energy. I'm going to be running 2 of these. Like again, it doesn't matter what armor you have it on, just as long as you have 2. And normally these won't stack, but if you have the Bountiful Wells mod, well making mod stack mount, which means basically off of a knife kill, we're going to be spawning 3 wells for just a single enemy. You can run more if you want, but I just only really feel the need to run 2. And the last combat style mod we have is Loosened Blade to make use of our Charge Your Light. And you don't have to use this Loosened Blade or even Charge Your Light, but if you use Lament, it's really good with Lament because you can get a ton of damage out. But pretty much about Charge Your Light, deal damage with your sword gives you a buff for like 5 seconds, and it consumes a stack of Charge Your Light. And now for what I think is the other most important mod, which is just a single mod, which is your class ability mod. There's 2 I like to run. It's either Classy Restoration or Flame Harvesting. Classy Restoration, I like to use that if I'm doing harder difficulty activities like a Nightfall or like Dungeon. And pretty much using your dodge gives you restoration ×2. And pretty much what that means is any damage you take, you're just healing through it. So you're almost unkillable unless you just take a ton of damage at once. And it's really good for helping you stay alive in like tough situations. The second one I like to use is Flame Harvesting. So solar exotic final blows create solar elemental wells. And so if you're running solo weapon like SUNSHOT or Jotun, which are the two I like to use with this, you're pretty much always making wells if you're killing enemies. I like flame harvesting for general use, and I like to use class D restoration for harder activities. But it's also fun to use because you're basically unkillable while using this. For other mods that are completely optional, but these are ones that I just think help with the build more, I like to use Solar Siphon. Rapid solar weapon final blows creating orbit power, so that's just giving you orbit power so you get your super back a little faster. I also like running Impact Induction. Causing damage with melee attacks reduces your grenade cooldown. Last but not least is our weapon loadout. Honestly, the only thing that really matters here is our exotic weapon choice. Like I said earlier, I like to run SUNSHOT if you want a nice primary solo weapon to use, or Jotun if you want a special weapon. And it also synergizes with Solar 3.0 if you have the Catalyst. It pretty much spreads Scorch to when you defeat a target, and also has faster charge time when you're surrounded by enemies. If you want a good solar heavy weapon to use, I like to use Lament. And this is really good if you're using Lucent Blade because you're getting the most damage out of the sword, and it's just a really good sword. And for non-exotic weapons, it doesn't really matter what you use. You can just use whatever weapons you like. I like to use this without remorse that has the perk Incandescent. So if you're killing enemies with it, you're just scorching other enemies, which helps to stack Scorch and proc Ignites. And that's all I have for you guys. Let me know what you think, and feel free to leave suggestions in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video or learned anything new, feel free to drop a like and maybe even subscribe. Anyway, have a good day and peace.